and we'll keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries, 100 forests mysteries, looping softly, endlessly through the night. Tonight we'll drift through the hidden cities beneath ancient forest floors, how trees secretly talk across miles, and the night forests that never truly sleep. There's nothing you need to do now. Just let your body sink, heavier, heavier. Feel the mattress holding you, every muscle softening, your heartbeat slowing, thump, thump, matching the rhythm of space itself, shoulders melting down, jaw releasing, each breath pulling you deeper, deeper, into the calm, the quiet, the dark. If this helps you rest, tap subscribe, comment, and hit like, so others can find this calm too, but only if your eyes are still open. Otherwise, just drift. Now, let's drift into forests. Before there were flowers, before there were leaves that turned gold in autumn, before there were birds to nest in branches, there were forests, but not forests as we know them now. 385 million years ago, in the Devonian period, the first forests rose from ancient soils. Strange forests, made of plants called Archaeopteris, trees that looked more like giant ferns, reaching heights of nearly 100 feet. Their trunks were smooth, their branches spread in geometric patterns, and they had something new, something the world had never seen. The first true leaves with veins, carrying water, carrying life. Let your breath slow now, in and out, like wind through those ancient branches. These first forests changed everything. They pulled carbon dioxide from the air, cooled the planet, created soil where there had been only rock. Their roots broke stone into sand, into clay, releasing minerals, building the foundation for all forests to come. And in their shade, the first forest insects appeared, tiny wingless creatures crawling through the moss, beginning a relationship between forests and the small lives within them that would last forever. Your eyelids growing heavy, so heavy. The oldest forest still standing today. They hold secrets in their wood. In California's White Mountains, bristlecone pines grip rocky hills, some of them nearly 5,000 years old. They were seedlings when the pyramids were being built. They watched human civilizations rise and fall and rise again. Their growth is so slow, you could barely measure it. One thin ring per year, sometimes rings so narrow they're almost invisible. These trees grow in spirals, their wood twisting, coiling upward, a pattern that makes them incredibly strong, able to withstand winds that would snap other trees like kindling. Feel your body spiraling down now, down into softness, into rest. But even these ancient individuals are young compared to some forest colonies. In Utah, a grove of quaking aspen called Pando, the trembling giant, covers more than 100 acres. It looks like thousands of separate trees, white bark gleaming, leaves that shimmer and whisper, But beneath the ground, they're all connected, all one organism, one massive root system, sending up new trunks, new stems for perhaps 80,000 years, some say longer. Pando has been cloning itself, copying itself, while entire ice ages came and went, while continents shifted, while species evolved and disappeared. Breathe, just breathe. Thump, thump, your heart beating slow and steady. Forests have survived everything Earth could throw at them. 252 million years ago, the Great Dying, the Permian extinction, wiped out 90% of all species. Volcanic eruptions filled the sky with ash. Temperatures soared, oceans turned acidic. Yet some forests survived, holding on in small pockets, waiting. And when the world stabilized, they spread again, repopulating continents. 665 million years ago, when the asteroid struck, ending the age of dinosaurs, forests burned, wildfires raged across entire continents. Ash blocked the sun for years, but seeds waited in the soil, protected, patient, and when light returned, ferns rose first, then trees, rebuilding the green world, layer by layer. Let go of tension in your shoulders, melting down. In the time of the dinosaurs, forests were different. Cycads and conifers dominated, giant sequoias and their relatives. In Antarctica, yes, Antarctica, there were forests, lush forests, before the continent drifted south, before ice entombed it. Beneath the ice sheets even now, there are fossils, preserved forests from when the South Pole was warm. When the climate shifts again in millions of years, perhaps those forests will see sunlight once more, your thoughts drifting, scattered like seeds on wind. The mathematics of trees, they follow patterns. Each branch splits, creating smaller branches which split again. This branching follows ratios, the same ratios found in rivers, in lightning, in the veins of your own lungs. Leonardo da Vinci noticed this. The total width of all branches at any height roughly equals the width of the trunk below, so the tree can move water efficiently from root to leaf tip. And the angles, the way branches emerge, they spiral around the trunk, following the Fibonacci sequence, maximizing exposure to sunlight, minimizing shadow. Mathematics written in wood. Everything is pattern, everything is rhythm. Thump, thump. In forests, light itself behaves differently. Only 2 to 5% of sunlight reaches the forest floor in dense canopies. The rest is caught, filtered through layers, absorbed by leaves. The light that does reach down, it's green, tinged with chlorophyll, creating a dim underwater feeling. And this darkness, this filtered light, it shapes everything that grows below. Ferns with huge fronds to catch scarce photons. Flowers that bloom in early spring before leaves block the sun. Mushrooms that need no light at all, sinking deeper into the darkness, safe, held. But forests create their own light too. In some places, certain mushrooms glow, bioluminescent fungi clinging to rotting logs, emitting soft green light, so faint you'd barely see it with adjusted eyes. Scientists still puzzle over why, perhaps to attract insects, to spread their spores, or perhaps, just perhaps, it's simply chemistry, happening for its own sake, light without purpose, beauty without reason. Let your mind wander through glowing forests, through gentle darkness. The air in forests, it has a smell, that particular forest scent. It comes from compounds called terpenes, released by trees, especially conifers. These molecules float through the air. They're what you smell when you crush pine needles, fresh, sharp, green. But terpenes do more than smell. They can reduce stress in humans, lower heart rate, calm the mind, and they help trees too, acting as distress signals. When insects attack a tree, it releases specific terpenes, warning other trees, which then boost their own chemical defenses before the insects arrive. Breathe in that imagined scent, calm, peaceful, safe. Beneath your feet, if you stood in a forest, the soil would be alive, truly alive. 1 teaspoon of forest soil contains more organisms than there are humans on Earth. Bacteria, fungi, nematodes, microscopic animals, all working, digesting, transforming. A single handful of soil, it's its own ecosystem, more complex than we can fully understand. These organisms break down fallen leaves, dead wood, animal waste, transforming death into nutrients, cycling elements, making nitrogen and phosphorus available, feeding the trees above, everything connected, everything cycling, like your breath, in and out, and beneath the soil, even deeper, there's a network, a wood-wide web, fungal threads called mycelium, connecting tree roots. Sometimes one mold connects hundreds of trees, different species even. Through these threads, trees share. They send carbon, nutrients, chemical messages. Mother trees, the largest and oldest, they support their offspring through this network, sending extra sugar to saplings growing in their shade. Dying trees, they dump their resources into the network, a final gift, ensuring the forest continues. Feel yourself connecting to something larger, something ancient. Forests move, not quickly, not in ways we easily see, but over centuries, over millennia, they migrate. As climate warms, tree species shift north, toward cooler regions. Seeds disperse, slightly farther each generation. Young trees establish themselves. The forest edge creeps forward, a few feet per year perhaps, but over 1,000 years. Forests can move dozens of miles. After the last ice age, as glaciers retreated, forests followed, reclaiming land, moving like a very slow green tide from southern refuges back across continents, drifting north, drifting south, drifting into sleep. Some trees can walk, in a way. The palm Socratea exoryza, sometimes called the walking palm, grows in Central and South American rainforests. It sends out new roots on one side of its trunk, while roots on the other side die back. Over years, the tree's position shifts, moving toward light gaps, though scientists debate how much it really moves. Perhaps a few inches per year, perhaps less. Still, the image persists, trees walking very slowly through jungle gloom. Your body still now, perfectly still. No need to move, no need to do anything. In the coldest forests on Earth, the boreal forests, the taiga, stretching across Russia, Scandinavia, Canada, trees have adapted to brutal winters, temperatures dropping to -60 degrees, snowfall measured in feet. These forests are mostly conifers, spruce, pine, fir. Their needle-shaped leaves resist freezing, coated in wax, and the dark green color, almost black, absorbs maximum sunlight in the brief summers. These forests grow slowly, taking advantage of each short warm season. Some trees living hundreds of years, growing thinner than a finger, yet surviving, cold but safe, wrapped in warmth, in blankets, in comfort. Forests create their own weather. Large forests, like the Amazon, they generate rain. Trees pull water from soil, release it through their leaves, a process called transpiration. In the Amazon, a single large tree can release hundreds of gallons per day. All the water vapor rises, forms clouds, and falls again as rain, often on the same forest, moisture recycling. 5 to 6 times, water evaporating and raining, before finally leaving the region. Without the forest, the climate would change. Less rain, hotter temperatures. The forest creates the conditions that sustain the forest. Cycles within cycles, breath within breath, thump, thump. On volcanic inclines, forests take hold. Even on fresh lava, within years, mosses appear, then ferns, then shrubs, then trees. Volcanic soil is rich, full of minerals. Forests on volcanoes grow thick and fast. In Hawaii, in Iceland, in Indonesia, wherever volcanoes rise, forests follow. Their roots stabilize the loose volcanic rock. Their leaves shade the ground, keeping moisture in. Within a human lifetime, bare lava becomes jungle, life rushing in, reclaiming, transforming stone into soil, from rock, from ash, from fire. New growth, new life, new beginnings. Lightning strikes trees, frequently, tall trees on hilltops, their natural lightning rods attracting strikes. Sometimes lightning kills a tree instantly, splitting it, boiling the water in its cells into steam, exploding the trunk. But some trees survive, wearing their lightning scars, strips of bark blown away, spiraling down the trunk, revealing pale wood beneath. These trees continue growing, the scar becoming part of their story, part of their pattern. Some trees are struck multiple times, over long lives, and still they stand, strong, resilient, enduring. The first leaves. They evolved around 400 million years ago. Simple structures at first, no more than green scales, but they gave plants incredible advantages. more surface area for photosynthesis, better control of water loss. Leaves could open tiny pores, stomata, to absorb carbon dioxide and close them to prevent drying. Over millions of years, leaves diversified. Needle leaves, broad leaves, compound leaves, lobed leaves. Each shape adapted to different conditions, different climates, different strategies for survival. Everything adapts, everything changes, slowly, so slowly, hidden beneath forests. Rivers flow, not rivers of water, not always, but rivers of air. Cool air sinks in valleys, flows downhill, creating microclimates, frost pockets where cold settles. Even on warm nights, down in these hidden valleys, temperatures can drop, frost forming, while hills above remain mild. Trees know this. Certain species avoid the frost pockets, while others tolerate them. The forest arranging itself according to invisible currents, invisible gradients, flowing down into the valley, into the deepest rest. Forests remember. They store information in their annual rings. Each ring records 1 year of growth. Wide rings when conditions were good, rain plentiful, sun generous. Narrow rings during drought, during competition, during stress. Scientists can read these rings, going back centuries, reconstructing climate, reconstructing history. Some rings show fire scars. The tree survived, healed, kept growing. Other rings show insect damage, disease, yet recovery. The tree remembers everything, written in wood, in patterns of light and dark, your own memory softening, dissolving. No need to remember, no need to think. In autumn, in deciduous forests, leaves change colour. The green fades, revealing other pigments that were always there. Yellows, oranges, reds. Chlorophyll breaks down, stops masking the carotenoids, the anthocyanins. But why do trees bother? Making red pigments, anthocyanins, in leaves about to fall. Scientists think it's protection. As leaves prepare to drop, they pull back valuable nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus. The anthocyanins act as sunscreen, protecting this nutrient salvage operation, allowing the tree to recover as much as possible before letting go, releasing, falling gently, gently down. Forests once grew underwater, not true forests, but their ancestors. Green algae in ancient oceans, colonies of cells, learning to photosynthesize. Some of these aquatic plants eventually colonized land, moving into fresh water, then onto wet soils. It took millions of years, developing roots, stems, ways to move water upward against gravity. The descendants of those pioneers, they became the forests, but the memory of water remains in every tree. Water flows upward, pulled by evaporation from leaves, cohesion between water molecules, a thin continuous column from soil to sky, ancient oceans flowing through wood, floating, suspended, held by invisible forces. The first birds lived in forests after evolving from small dinosaurs, Archaeopteryx, with feathers and teeth, gliding between trees. maybe, or perhaps running, leaping, learning to fly. By the time dinosaurs vanished, birds had diversified, and in the recovery forests, those post-asteroid forests, birds found new niches, new foods, new nesting sites. They evolved beaks of every shape, each adapted to different seeds, different insects, different forest resources. Some birds learned to hide seeds, to cache them, forgetting some, planting new trees accidentally. Birds and forests evolving together, shaping each other for 65 million years. Wings folding, settling, resting in the nest of your bed. Wind moves differently through forests. The trees slow it, filter it. Turbulence increases as wind hits the canopy. But below, in the understory, air is calmer. The forest creates its own shelter. On open ground, wind might gust at 30 miles per hour, but inside the forest, perhaps only 5. This affects temperature, humidity, sound. The forest interior becomes its own world, disconnected from outside, protected, buffered, a refuge, safe inside, protected. Nothing can harm you here. Jungles, rainforests, they grow in layers. The emergent layer, tallest trees poking above the canopy, reaching 200 feet or more, exposed to full sun, to wind, to storm. Below that, the canopy proper, interlocking crowns, where most life occurs. Monkeys, birds, insects, all living high up, barely descending. Below the canopy, the understory, smaller trees, waiting for gaps, for their chance at light. And finally, the forest floor, dim, moist, fungi and ferns, death and decay and rebirth. Each layer a different world, different species, different sounds, different light. Layers of consciousness, drifting down through each to the deepest, quietest level. Some trees survive direct lightning strikes through adaptation. Cork trees with thick insulating bark. Some eucalyptus species with oils that conduct electricity around the trunk into the ground rather than through it. And trees learn, in a way. Forests that experience frequent lightning, those trees invest more in protective bark, thicker, more insulating. The ones that survive, they pass on their genes, their strategies, natural selection, working over thousands of years, writing lightning resistance into the forest's genetic code. Resistance, endurance, this strength to keep living, keep dreaming. Humans have always told stories about forests. Dark forests where witches lived, enchanted forests where magic dwelled, sacred groves where gods whispered. Forests as places of transformation, danger, mystery. These myths span cultures, span continents, because forests are liminal spaces, neither fully wild nor fully known, neither completely safe nor completely dangerous. They exist at boundaries between light and shadow, between human and other, and something in us responds to that mystery, to that depth, to those shadows between trees, where anything might dwell. Mystery, shadows, but you are safe, drifting through safely, nothing to fear. Some tree species grow in circular patterns, fairy rings, where fungi spread outward from a central point, dying trees in the center, new trees sprouting at the edges. The ring expands, slowly, over centuries. Some fairy rings are hundreds of feet across, marking hundreds of years of growth. Other circular patterns come from fire. A fire burns outward, kills trees, but their seeds sprout in the ash, in a circle, marking where the heat was just right, hot enough to crack seeds, cool enough not to sterilize soil. Circles upon circles, patterns in the forest, patterns in your mind, spinning, slowing, stopping, your thoughts moving in circles, slower, slower, nearly still. Forests produce oxygen. Everyone knows this. Through photosynthesis, converting carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. A single mature tree produces enough oxygen for 2 people per year. But forests also consume oxygen, especially at night, when photosynthesis stops and cellular respiration continues. The net balance over a growing season. Forests produce more than they consume, but old-growth forests, mature, stable forests, they reach equilibrium, producing roughly as much as they consume. Most of Earth's oxygen, it comes from ocean phytoplankton, tiny floating plants. But forests, they cycle it, clean it. The air in forests is rich, fresh, full of negative ions that might affect mood, might calm the mind, might ease breathing. Breathing that forest air now in your imagination. Pure, clean, calming. Forests shape mountains, or rather, mountains shape forests, but forests reinforce the pattern. Rainfall increases with elevation, cooling air, condensing moisture, so mountain forests grow thick on inclines. Their roots hold soil, prevent erosion. Without forests, mountains would erode faster, losing soil to rivers, to oceans. The trees slow the water, catch the rain, release it gradually, and when rain falls, when streams run, the forest shelters the ground, reduces impact. Avalanches happen less frequently, landslides are rarer. The forest and the mountain, holding each other in a long, slow embrace that has lasted since mountains rose from stone, held, supported like the mattress beneath you, solid, secure, inside forests. Insects engineer ecosystems. Bark beetles bore into trees. Some species of beetle carry fungi. The fungi digest wood. The beetle larvae eat the fungi, and in the process, they break down dead and dying trees, opening space, recycling nutrients. Other insects pollinate forest flowers, transfer diseases, disperse seeds. Ants cultivate fungi gardens underground. Termites build mounds that tower overhead, that regulate temperature, creating microclimates. Every insect species playing a role, part of the vast complexity that makes a forest more than just trees, complex, interconnected, like thoughts dissolving, connections fading, only peace remaining. Trees die slowly. Most of them, a mature tree might take decades to die. First it loses vigor, growth rings narrowing, then branches die back, starting at the top. Bark beetles move in. Fungi too. The tree becomes a snag, still standing, but hollow, soft. Home now to woodpeckers, to owls, to countless insects. Eventually your eye falls, crashes down, becomes a nurse log, its rotting bulk feeding seedlings, sheltering salamanders, growing mushrooms. Over centuries, the log decomposes, merges with soil and the nutrients. They return to living trees, everything cycling, nothing wasted. Death feeding life, life eventually joining death, the eternal rotation, around and around, like your breath, like time itself, turning, always turning. Some forests hum, especially at night, the combined sounds of insects, of wind in leaves, of small animals moving. It creates a baseline hum. Scientists can record it, can analyze it. Each forest has its own signature sound, its own frequency. In healthy forests, the hum is rich, complex, layered. In damaged forests, it simplifies, quiets. The hum is a measure of life, of biodiversity, of vitality. You could listen to a forest and know its health, know its story, just from sound. Listen now to the quiet hum of your own life, heart beating, blood flowing, breath moving, your own body humming, alive, at rest. Predators affect forests in ways you might not expect. When wolves disappeared from Yellowstone, elk populations boomed. They overgrazed, especially young trees, especially willows and aspens near streams. The forests thinned, rivers widened, eroded. When wolves returned, elk changed behavior, avoided open areas near water. Trees recovered, forests grew back. Beavers returned, building dams, creating wetlands, all because wolves kept elk moving, kept them wary. This indirect effect, predators shaping plants through herbivores, it's called a trophic cascade. The whole ecosystem shifting, realigning, finding a new balance. Everything context forest traps sound. Absorb it. The trunks, the leaves, the soft ground covered in needles or leaves, all of it dampens noise. In a thick forest, sounds don't travel far. A shout might carry 50 feet, where in open ground it would travel hundreds. This is why forests feel quiet, feel contemplative. The sound that exists, bird calls, rustling leaves, it stays close, intimate, personal. A forest conversation between you and the trees, just a few feet away. No echoes, no distance. Everything close, everything intimate, like this voice, just for you, soft, near. Within forests, countless microclimates exist. At the base of a large tree, sheltered from wind, moisture held in bark crevices. It might be 10 degrees warmer than 10 feet away. On the north side of a trunk, moss grows thick, holding moisture, creating its own tiny ecosystem. In a sun gap, where an old tree fell, temperatures soar. Raspberries and other sun lovers thrive. But at night, that same gap becomes a frost pocket, cold air pooling. Each small variation in topography, in canopy cover, in soil moisture creates a different microclimate. The forest isn't one environment, it's thousands, overlapping, nested within each other, nested like dreams within dreams, layers of rest falling through. Some trees grow from other trees, strangler figs in tropical forests start as seeds deposited by birds high in host tree branches. The seed germinates, sends roots down, dangling until they touch soil. Once rooted, the fig grows quickly, its roots thickening, surrounding the host tree. Eventually, the host dies, rots away, leaving the fig standing alone, hollow in the center, a tree-shaped ghost where another tree once lived, life built on life, support becoming structure, temporary becoming permanent, one thing becoming another, wakefulness becoming sleep, thoughts becoming dreams. Fossil forests, they're scattered around the world. In Arizona, the petrified forest, logs turn to stone, agate and jasper, from trees that lived 225 million years ago. In Gilboa, New York, the world's oldest fossil forest, stumps and roots from 385 million years ago. Those first forests, now stone. We can see their structure, their form, but not their color, not their scent, not the sound of wind through their branches. They exist as echoes, shadows, memories in rock, memories fading, images blurring, only sensation remaining. Forests resist erosion. Their roots hold soil like fingers clutching. Even in heavy rain, even in floods, forested hills stay stable. Clear-cut a forest, and the next storm carries away topsoil, fills streams with sediment. Rivers turn brown, muddy. Roots need years to re-establish, to knit the soil together again. In mountainous regions, this becomes crucial. Forests prevent landslides, prevent avalanches, hold the mountain together, and forests create terraces as fallen logs trap sediment, building flat spaces, step by step, up the slope, the forest sculpting the land, even as the land shapes the forest, stable, grounded, held in place, nothing slipping, nothing falling. Trees store water in their trunks, not in reservoirs or pockets, but in the wood itself, between cells, in cell walls. A large tree might hold hundreds of gallons. During drought, trees slowly release this water, keeping the cells alive, keeping photosynthesis running. This stored water, it's why trees can survive weeks, months even, without rain. Why forests in seasonal climates don't die each dry season. They carry reserves, like living water towers, distributed throughout the forest, ensuring continuity, ensuring survival. Your own body holding water, blood flowing, cells hydrated, life continuing, automatically, no effort needed. Shade ecosystems develop beneath canopies. Species adapted to low light. They have larger leaves, thinner, to maximize light capture. More chlorophyll per cell, making leaves darker green. Some plants, like certain orchids, rely entirely on fungi. They have lost the ability to photosynthesize. become parasites on the fungal network, taking sugar that fungi take from trees. Three-way parasitism, or perhaps three-way cooperation. Depending on perspective, lines between competition and cooperation, they blur in forest depths. Everyone taking, everyone giving, balanced on a knife edge of mutual need, balanced, perfectly balanced, between waking and sleeping, neither, both. Pando, we mentioned before, that aspen grove in Utah, but there are other ancient colonies. Poseidonia seagrass meadows in the Mediterranean, 100,000 years old. Not forests exactly, but showing the same strategy. Cloning, spreading, persisting on land in Tasmania. A king's holly, Lomedia tasmanica, exists as a single clonal colony, 43,000 years old at minimum. It grows slowly, very slowly, in cold mountain rainforest. It's sterile, cannot reproduce through mating, only by cloning, only by suckering. The exact same individual, the exact same DNA, older than modern humans, older than Neanderthals, still growing, still green, still alive, old, so old, ancient, timeless, like the darkness behind your eyelids. Forests survived ice ages when glaciers advanced. Forests retreated south or to lower elevations, finding refuges, pockets where climate remained tolerable. In Europe, forests squeezed into peninsulas, Italy, Spain, the Balkans. Holding on, during warm periods, interglacials, forests expanded again, recolonizing. We're in an interglacial now, the Holocene, and forests are still expanding, still migrating into previously frozen lands, though now human activity complicates things, blocks migration routes, fragments habitats. The forests want to move, but find barriers, roads, cities, farms. The migration continues, but slower, interrupted, moving slow, so slow, barely moving at all, almost still, almost asleep. Seasonal forests in temperate zones, they have rhythm. In spring, buds swell, leaves emerge, bright green, tender. As summer progresses, leaves darken, thicken, produce throughout the long days. In autumn, the drawdown begins, nutrients pulled back, leaves sealed off, colours changing, falling, winter bare, dormant, energy conserved, and the cycle repeats, has repeated, for millions of years. Trees perfectly attuned to the rhythm of their latitude, to the angle of sunlight, to the length of days. They measure time through proteins, through hormones, through changes in light, molecular clocks, ticking, marking, remembering, time passing or not passing, hard to tell, drifting outside of time. Some trees bloom rarely, bamboo species. They can go decades between blooms, sometimes a century. All the bamboo plants of one species across thousands of miles. They bloom simultaneously, then die. Scientists still debate how they synchronize. Perhaps they all count years, using some internal mechanism. When the count reaches the threshold, they flower, set seed, and perish. These seeds sprout, and the count begins again, a century-long timer running in every cell, waiting, waiting, until the moment comes, waiting, but not waiting, just being, just resting. Rivers and forests, they're intimately linked. Forests slow water, reduce flooding. Tree roots prevent erosion, keep sediment from clouding streams. Fallen logs create pools, habitat for fish, for insects. In the Pacific Northwest, salmon swim upstream to spawn, then die. Their bodies, full of ocean nutrients, feed the forest. Bears drag salmon into the woods. Eagles drop scraps. The carcasses decompose, enriching soil. The trees grow faster near salmon streams. You can measure it in their rings. Wider growth, more nitrogen. The ocean feeding the forest. Through swimming fish, through the cycle of water, of migration, of death and decay. Cycles upon cycles, water to ocean to rain, to river to tree to soil to river again. Forests feed oceans too. Leaves fall into streams, become detritus, broken down by aquatic insects. These insects become food for fish, which are eaten by larger fish, some of which migrate to sea. And rivers carry dissolved nutrients, washed from soil, from decomposing wood, into estuaries, into coastal waters, where they fuel phytoplankton blooms, which feed zooplankton, which feed fish, the forest's productivity, eventually reaching the open ocean. Everything connected, land to sea, sea to land, connected, part of something vast, something ancient, something that breathes. In forest air, there's life, spores floating, pollen drifting, bacteria riding wind currents, seeds with wings, with parachutes, traveling miles. This airborne community, it's called the aerobiome, largely invisible, but crucial. These travelers carry genetics, carry fungi, carry information between forests, between continents. When scientists sample air, they find thousands of species, most unidentified, most unknown, a sky full of life, most of it harmless, much of it beneficial. Invisible threads connecting every forest to every other forest through the medium of air. Air moving through you, carrying nothing but peace, nothing but rest. Seeds travel incredible distances. Coconuts float across oceans, remain viable for months, washing up on distant shores, germinating, starting new palm forests. Maple seeds helicopter down, but wind can carry them miles. Some seeds stick to animal fur or bird feathers, hitchhiking. Some survive digestion, passing through guts, emerging with their own fertilizer package. A few seeds from certain alpine flowers. They need freeze-thaw cycles to germinate. They sit in soil, waiting years, decades even, until conditions match, until the moment is right. Patience written into the seed coat, into the embryo. Time doesn't matter, only the right conditions, the right moment, waiting for nothing, needing nothing, just drifting, drifting. Moss in forests, it's often overlooked, but moss plays crucial roles. It holds moisture, releasing it slowly, keeping humidity high. It provides habitat for tiny invertebrates, for spiders, for insects. It softens sound, cushions falls, and some moss species fix nitrogen, taking it from air, converting it to forms plants can use, enriching the soil, asking nothing in return. Moss lives slowly, grows slowly, exists in a different time frame, where minutes are irrelevant, where seasons matter, where years pass like days. Ancient, patient, green even in winter, thriving in shade, content with little, content, needing nothing, having everything, in this moment, this breath. Forests on floating islands, they exist in marshes, in swamps, where vegetation mats grow thick, soil accumulates, trees take root, and the whole thing floats. These floating forests drift, slowly, with currents, with seasons. An island one year, moved to a different place the next. Plants adapted to instability, to uncertainty, roots shallow, flexible, able to survive when the island grounds, or fragments, or tips, life finding a way, even in impermanence, even in motion. Floating, you're floating, unanchored, free, drifting. Trees wage chemical warfare. When grazed by insects or disease, they produce defensive compounds, tannins that make leaves indigestible, toxins that poison attackers, and they warn their neighbors, releasing volatile chemicals into the air. Other trees detect these signals and boost their own defenses preemptively before attack arrives. In a sense, forests communicate alarm, create a collective defense, but trees also compete chemically. Black walnut releases juglone, which inhibits other plants nearby, reducing competition. Eucalyptus drops leaves full of oils that suppress germination. These chemical battles, silent, invisible, shape which species can coexist, which dominate, which disappear. Battles so slow, you'd never notice, like drifting thoughts, appearing, fading, gone. Forests defend themselves in other ways too. Some trees have thorns, physical barriers. Others produce thick bark, insulating, fire-resistant, or grow in dense thickets, where large herbivores can't penetrate, and their strength in numbers. A forest, even if individual trees are vulnerable, has redundancy. Lose one tree, 10 more grow. Lose 100, 1,000 seeds wait. The forest as entity, as superorganism, it can absorb damage, can heal, can persist through fire, through storm, through plague. Resilience built from multitude, from diversity, from the sheer abundance of life. Abundant, overflowing, like breath flowing in and out, like blood flowing through veins, unstoppable. Pollen clouds migrate. In spring, pine forests release pollen in such quantities that it clouds the air, turns lakes yellow, coats everything. This looks excessive, wasteful even, but it's strategy. Pine pollen is wind-pollinated, and wind is unreliable, so pines produce billions of grains, ensuring some reach female cones. Even if most fail, some succeed. And the excess, it feeds insects, feeds fungi, adds nutrients to soil. Nothing truly wasted. Even apparent excess serves a purpose, contributes, recycles back, excess melting away, leaving only what's needed. Breath, heartbeat, darkness. Giant canopies cast shadows, deep shadows. In redwood groves as in old-growth forests, the shade is profound. Temperature can be 20 degrees cooler than in open areas. Humidity stays high. Wind drops to whispers. These shadows create special conditions where ferns grow huge, where sorrel carpets the ground, where salamanders patrol for slugs. The shadows are habitat, are climate, are essential. Without them, the forest floor would dry, would heat, would change. The canopy maintains conditions below, nurtures life below, giving shade, giving moisture, giving structure, shadow behind your eyelids, complete, total, comforting. Floods come and forests thrive. Riparian forests along rivers, they're adapted. They expect flooding, even require it. Flood waters deposit sediment, rich nutrients, renew soil, seeds germinate in fresh mud. Trees like cottonwoods, willows, they grow fast, colonize newly exposed ground. Their roots stabilize banks, reduce erosion during the next flood. It's a partnership between river and forest. The river shapes the forest shapes the river, and both are healthier, more diverse, more productive, because of the exchange, the flooding, the renewal, waves of relaxation flooding through you, renewing, releasing. The first mammals lived in forests, small, nocturnal, insectivorous. When dinosaurs dominated, mammals stayed small, stayed hidden, lived in trees or burrows. But when dinosaurs vanished, mammals diversified. Some took to trees permanently, became primates, developed grasping hands, forward-facing eyes for judging distance, jumping between branches. Others grew large, browsers eating leaves, predators hunting in forest shadows. For 65 million years, mammals and forests co-evolved, shaping each other. Mammals dispersing seeds, pruning branches, digging soil. Forests providing food, shelter, the structure of habitat. It's impossible now to separate what is mammal-shaped, what is forest-shaped. They're intertwined, interdependent, intertwined, like body and breath, inseparable, one. Rainforests are vertical cities, life stacked, layered, from soil to canopy. Most diversity exists high up, in the canopy, where sunlight is. Most animals never descend. Entire species live their whole lives 100 feet up, drinking from bromeliads, eating fruits, never touching ground. There are canopy soils, formed from trapped leaves and dust, where plants grow without reaching earth. Canopy rivers, water flowing down branches, collecting in pools. Canopy predators, canopy prey, an entire ecosystem, suspended, living in air, in light, disconnected from the ground, yet dependent on the trees that are rooted below. Everything connected, despite distance, despite layers of sleep, shallow, deeper, deepest, falling through, slowly. Walking trees. We mentioned the walking palm, but the concept applies more broadly. Mangroves. They walk in a way. They send out prop roots ahead of themselves into water, but into mud. The roots take hold. The tree shifts its growth, leaning forward. Old roots behind might die. The tree migrates toward light, toward open space. Or perhaps it's not migration. Perhaps it's just growth, leaning, persisting. Call it walking, call it growing. Either way, the tree moves, reshapes its position over decades, over centuries, moving without moving, being still, yet going somewhere, into rest, into darkness. Prehistoric forests, before flowering plants, before grasses, were different, dominated by ferns, by horsetails, by club mosses, some growing huge, tall as trees. These forests were green, lush, but quiet. No birdsong, no flower scents. The first insects were there, but no pollinators yet, no bees, no butterflies, just dragonflies, cockroaches, primitive and strange. The forests of the Carboniferous, 300 million years ago, were swamps, stagnant water, thick vegetation. When trees died, they didn't fully decay. The fungi and bacteria that break down lignin hadn't fully evolved yet. So dead trees piled up, sank into swamp water, compressed over millions of years, became coal. Those ancient forests, we burn them now for energy, releasing carbon that was locked away when the atmosphere was different, when the world was young, ancient, so ancient, older than old, lost in time. Forests anchor ecosystems, their foundation species. Remove the forest and everything else changes. Birds lose nesting sites, insects lose food plants, mammals lose shelter, soil erodes, streams warm, microclimates disappear. The diversity crashes, not immediately, not all at once, but gradually. Species by species, trophic level by trophic level, until what remains is a ghost of what was, simplified, impoverished. But forests can return if given time, if given space. Seeds sprout, trees grow, complexity rebuilds, not identical to what was lost, but functional, alive, green. The forest's ability to anchor, to rebuild, to persist, is written in genes, in seeds, in mycorrhizae, in the memory of the land itself. Memory fading, forgetting, letting go. Nothing to hold, nothing to keep. After deforestation, there's silence. A silence that's almost physical. No rustling leaves, no bird calls, no insect hum. Just wind over bare ground, maybe, or just stillness. This silence, it's eerie, unnatural. Even in deserts, there's sound, life sounds. But after clear-cutting, after fire, there's a hush, as if the land is holding its breath, waiting, and eventually, if seeds can reach, if soil remains, if water flows, the silence breaks, birdsong returns, insects buzz, leaves rustle, the forest exhales, begins again. Silence now, just silence, and your breath. the only sound, soft, steady. Forests rebuild soil, where erosion has stripped land, where glaciers scrape to bedrock. Forests begin the slow process. Lichens colonize rock, break it down. Moss follows, holding moisture, attracting insects. Insects die, decompose, create tiny pockets of organic matter. Ferns take root, shrubs follow, then trees, and with each generation, soil deepens, leaves fall, decompose, roots grow and die, fungi spread. After centuries, what was barren rock becomes feet of rich soil, capable of supporting giants. The forest creates its own foundation, builds its own future, patiently, grain by grain, building rest, deeper and deeper, layer by layer, until sleep is complete. Hidden predators dwell in bark, tiny wasps, parasitic, laying eggs in beetle larvae. The wasp larvae consume the beetle from inside, emerge as adults, to repeat the cycle. Spiders hide in crevices, waiting for ants, for flies. Woodpeckers excavate, seeking these hidden meals, leaving holes that become homes for other species. Nuthatches, chickadees, flying squirrels. Even the bark surface here is hunting ground for birds, for lizards, for other beetles. This three-dimensional habitat, full of cracks and crevices, supports countless lives, invisible until you look closely, until you slow down, until you really see, seeing less now, eyes closed or closing, vision darkening. Forests recycle death constantly, efficiently. A tree falls, within days, fungi appear, white thread spreading, beetles arrive, boring in, laying eggs, larvae tunnel through sapwood, breaking structure. Within months, the wood softens, centipedes, millipedes, slugs, they move in, eating fungi, eating bacterial films. Their waste enriches soil beneath the log. Within years, the log is soft, crumbling. Salamanders shelter underneath. Shrews hunt there. Ferns sprout from the log surface, using it as soil, as nutrients. After decades, the log is gone, merged with forest floor. Nothing remains except the trees growing where it fed them, the life it sustained. Everything recycled, nothing wasted. Death feeding life, continuously. Continuous, like breathing, like existing. No beginning, no end, just being. Inside fallen logs, there's life, complexity you wouldn't believe. If you could shrink, enter a hollow log, you'd find tunnels, chambers, galleries, created by beetles, by ants, by termites, fungi gardens in some chambers, carefully tended, larvae in others, feeding, growing, predators prowling tunnels, centipedes, pseudoscorpions, hunting. At certain times, salamanders squeeze in, sleeping through summer, hibernating through winter. The log is apartment complex, is city, is entire world, for creatures who never leave, who live their whole lives in what was once a tree, what is now a universe of decay, of life, of transformation, your own universe shrinking, narrowing, down to just this darkness, this peace. Forest time moves differently. A decade is brief, a century is one lifetime. For some trees, forests measure time in millennia, in the slow march of succession, in the gradual shift of species. What seems permanent to them is transition. What seems static is actually moving, very slowly, flowing like glaciers, changing like mountains, eroding, building, always in process, never finished. If you could watch a forest in time-lapse across 1,000 years, you'd see it breathe, you'd see it pulse, you'd see it dance, flowing across landscape, adapting, surviving, never still, but so slow, so very slow, that it seems eternal, unchanging, eternal darkness, unchanging peace. Time stopped, or maybe time infinite, doesn't matter. Trees share nutrients, not just carbon through mycorrhizae, but nitrogen, phosphorus, water. When one tree has excess, it flows to others. When one struggles, others support it. This isn't altruism exactly. It's more like insurance, like diversification. If the forest thrives, individual trees benefit. So sharing increases the collective chance of survival. Mother trees, they especially share with kin, recognizing offspring through chemical signals in roots, giving preference, but they share with non-kin too, just less. This economy of nutrients, flowing underground, invisible, it sustains the forest, buffers against scarcity, ensures someone survives to carry on, carried, supported, held by something larger, something that breathes with you. Colors invisible to us exist in forests, ultraviolet patterns on flowers, visible to bees, infrared heat signatures, visible to snakes, polarized light, filtered through leaves, used by insects for navigation. The forest we see is only one version, one wavelength range. Birds see different forests, more colors, more patterns. Insects see different forests still. Bats hear forests through echolocation, a world of sound shapes. Each species experiences a different forest. Each forest is many forests, overlapping, coexisting, invisible to each other, yet all real, all true, truth beyond seeing, beyond thinking, truth felt in the body sinking, muscles releasing, forests breathe, day and night, though differently. During day, photosynthesis, absorbing carbon dioxide, releasing oxygen. At night, respiration dominates, absorbing oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide. But the net effect, over weeks, months, growing seasons, forests absorb more than they release, lock carbon in wood, in soil, in roots. Old-growth forests, mature forests, they slow this process, approaching balance, but they still store carbon in the massive stocks already built. Regrowing forests, young forests, they're hungry, pulling carbon from atmosphere, building structure, building biomass, growing, reaching, storing, breathing, living, your breath, the forest's breath, the same, in and out, rising and falling. Forests shape climate history. We can see it in ice cores. When forests expand, Carbon dioxide drops, temperatures cool. When forests shrink, carbon dioxide rises, temperatures warm. After the last ice age, forests spread from refuges, recolonizing. For thousands of years, they grew and temperatures stabilized. Then humans developed agriculture, started clearing forests, and carbon dioxide began rising, slowly at first, then faster. The forests remember this. In their rings, in their distributions, they remember what climate was, what it's becoming. They record, silently, truthfully, without judgment, without effort, just recording, existing, like your heartbeat. Thump, thump, steady, storms born from forests, in the Amazon, in Congo, in Southeast Asia. Warm moist air rises over forests, condenses, forms thunderheads. By afternoon, rain falls, sometimes gentle, sometimes torrential. Thunder rumbles, lightning flashes. The rain feeds the forest, which feeds the rain. A cycle, self-perpetuating, but deforest too much. Break the cycle, and droughts come. The land dries. The storms move elsewhere or diminish. The forest and the rain, they need each other. Neither exists without the other. Need without need. Rest without trying. Sleep without sleeping. Just falling. Forests are living archives. Every tree is a book, every ring a page, recording drought, fire, insect outbreak, good years, bad years. Scientists read these archives, going back centuries, millennia even, reconstructing climate, reconstructing disturbance regimes. The forests remember when we don't, when we can't. They hold history in cellulose, in lignin, in the pattern of light and dark, and they'll continue recording long after we're gone, long after everything we've built has crumbled. The forests will stand, will remember, will archive. Archive of your day, filing away, storing, releasing. Nothing needs remembering. Nothing needs holding. Memory in wood, it's literal, structural. Trees remember trauma. A fire scar remains visible for the tree's entire life. New wood grows around it, but the scar stays. A wound, sealed but not healed. Years of drought, they show as tight rings. Years of plenty, wide rings. The tree carries its past in its present structure, and we can read it if we learn the language of wood, of grain, of ring width. The forest speaks in a language older than words, older than humans. We're only beginning to learn to listen, listening to silence, to the space between sounds, to the gaps, falling into gaps, dissolving. Forests outlive empires. The Roman Empire rose and fell, and the forests remember. Tree alive during Rome's height, some still living. Bristle cones in California, oaks in Germany. They were young when Rome was young. They matured as Rome declined. They're old now, ancient, but still alive, still growing. They watched humans build civilizations, watched them collapse, watched new ones rise, indifferent, or perhaps just patient, just growing, just existing. just persisting. Long after our cities are ruins, forests will remain or return, covering what we built, reclaiming, slowly, inevitably, inevitable, like sleep, unavoidable, approaching, arriving, now. The geometry of leaves is precise, mathematical. Veins branching at specific angles, following patterns that minimize material while maximizing strength. The edge of a leaf, it's a fractal, repeating patterns at different scales. This geometry, it's optimized through millions of years of evolution, every curve, every angle, solving problems of light capture, of water transport, of gas exchange, geometry so perfect, so elegant, engineers study it, trying to learn, trying to copy. But nature did it first, did it better, without thought, without planning, just through time, through survival, through endless tiny adjustments, adjusted, perfectly comfortable, body molded to bed, bed molded to body, perfect fit, the future of forests. We can't know it, climate changing, faster than trees can migrate. Species will shift, some will decline, others will expand. New associations will form. Forests of the future might look different, feel different, but they'll still be forests, still green, still complex, still alive, still cycling carbon, creating weather, supporting life. Forests adapt, they've survived. Everything Earth has thrown at them, asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, they'll survive us too, or survive without us. Either way, forests continue, changed perhaps, but continuing, breath after breath, moment after moment, into dawn, into tomorrow. But that's far away. Nothing now but this moment, this darkness, this perfect peace. Trees that grew from other trees and strangler figs, as we mentioned them, but also in the Pacific Northwest, when old growth falls, seedlings sprout on the log, they send roots down around the nurse log into soil beneath. As the log decays, it leaves a void, and the new trees, they stand in a line on stilts, arched roots, where the nurse log was. You can see which trees grew this way by their bases, by their arrangement. Forest generations, built on previous generations, structure built on decay, life built on death, life built on letting go, on releasing, on trusting, falling into support, held, safe, sleeping, finally sleeping, in cold forests, the boreal, taiga. Growth rings are so tight, you need magnification to count them. 100 years of growth might equal the width of your fingernail. These trees put everything into survival, little into expansion. They withstand temperatures that would kill almost any other plant through adaptation, through antifreeze proteins in their cells, through waxy needles that resist ice crystal formation. They survive, and that survival is its own kind of success. Not growing fast, not reproducing prolifically, just enduring, persisting, being, just being. No goals, no striving, just existing, breathing, resting, Deserts have forests too. Not the forest you'd expect, but they exist. Fog forests on coastal desert in Namibia, in Chile, where ocean fog rolls in, condenses on trees, drips to roots. These forests survive on fog, on moisture from air. Barely any rain, but enough fog to sustain sparse woodland, trees with deep roots, thick bark, adaptations for arid conditions, forests at the edge of what's possible, proving that life finds a way, even where it seems impossible, even in extremes, at the edge of sleep, the edge of dreams, balanced, hovering. Forests move water uphill, seemingly defying gravity, but it's physics, cohesion between water molecules, adhesion to cell walls, evaporation from leaves creating negative pressure, pulling water up, xylem vessels, thin tubes, carrying water from roots to crown, sometimes hundreds of feet, in the tallest trees, in redwoods, in Douglas firs, water climbs, 300 feet, more, pulled by evaporation, by transpiration, by the endless demand for moisture, for life. The tree is a pump, powered by sun, by physics, by the simple need to photosynthesize, to grow, to exist, existing without effort, like breathing, like heartbeat, automatic, easy, natural. Root networks show intelligence, not consciousness, but responsiveness. Roots grow toward water, toward nutrients. They avoid toxic areas. They recognize kin and non-kin, compete less with relatives. They can even learn in experiments. Roots exposed to stimuli change their growth patterns. Remember, adjust, adapt, not through neurons, through electrical signals, through chemical gradients. A different kind of intelligence, distributed, slow, but real. The forest thinking in its own way, processing information, making decisions about where to grow, how to allocate resources, who to support, distributed awareness, dissolving, spreading, losing center, losing edges. After fire, some forests regenerate from ash, their seeds coated to resist heat. They need fire to crack open, to germinate. Jack pine, lodgepole pine, their cones sealed with resin. Only fire melts the resin, releases seeds. These species, they're adapted to fire, dependent on it. Fire clears competition, opens canopy, enriches soil with ash. The forest burns and rebounds. Sometimes within a single season, a landscape blackened, charred, but green shoots emerging from roots that survived, from seeds that waited, from bulbs protected underground. The forest knows fire, expects it, is ready, prepared or unprepared. Doesn't matter, all is well, all is restful. Fungi and trees, their symbiosis is ancient. Fossil evidence shows mycorrhizal associations from 400 million years ago, when plants first colonized land. Fungi helped them, extended their reach, gathered nutrients. In return, trees provide sugar, carbon fixed through photosynthesis. This partnership, it enabled forests. Without fungi, trees couldn't access enough phosphorus, enough nitrogen. Without trees, fungi wouldn't have reliable carbon sources. They evolved together, codependent, inseparable, two kingdoms functioning as one throughout the forest, through every root, every fungal strand. The partnership continues, ancient, ongoing, essential connection, like breath to life, like sleep to waking, necessary, natural. Forest animals migrate. Within the forest, between forests, birds fly south for winter, return in spring. Mammals move to follow food, to find mates. Elk drift to lower elevations when snow deepens, return to highlands when meadows green. These migrations, they shape the forest. Animals disperse seeds, transfer nutrients from one area to another, from water to land, from death to life. Their movement connects the forest, prevents isolation, maintains gene flow, ensures diversity. Without migration, forests would fragment, become isolated pockets, vulnerable, weak. Movement maintains continuity, connection, wholeness, completeness, nothing lacking, nothing needed, perfect as you are, as you rest. Autumn chemistry. When leaves prepare to fall, trees perform alchemy, breaking down chlorophyll, revealing other colors, but also synthesizing new pigments, anthocyanins, made fresh each autumn, red, purple. These pigments protect the leaf as nutrients are extracted, shield cells from sun damage, allow maximum recovery of nitrogen, of phosphorus, before the leaf releases, before it falls. The tree salvages what it can, stores it in wood, in roots, for next spring, for future growth. Nothing wasted, everything saved. The tree preparing for winter, for dormancy, for the long sleep ahead. Long sleep, deep sleep, the kind without dreams, without time, just darkness, just peace. Oceans once covered, areas now forested, shallow seas, in the Carboniferous, in the Cretaceous, where coal forests grew, where swamp forests spread. These areas rose from water, land uplifting or sea levels dropping, and forests colonized, slowly, progressively, starting at edges, moving inland, building soil, building ecosystems. Now they're far from ocean, yet they carry, in their rocks, fossils of marine life, shells, corals, ancient seas, beneath ancient forests, memory in stone of what was, what transformed, what became, transformation from waking to sleeping, from thought to emptiness, from something to nothing to everything. The first birds of forest we mentioned, but later birds, songbirds specifically, they evolved in forests, passerines, perching birds, their feet adapted for gripping branches, their songs developed for communicating through dense foliage. Sound travels differently in forests, so songs changed, became complex, layered, evolved for forest acoustics, for territories marked by sound. for mates attracted by melody. 50 million years of forest birds singing, evolving, diversifying into thousands of species, each song unique, each adapted to its particular forest, its particular niche. Birds and forests, each shaping the other through sound, through seed dispersal, through presence, sound fading, melody slowing, notes lengthening into silence, into stillness. Wind in forests, it flows like water, like rivers, finding paths around trunks, through gaps, creating eddies, creating currents. The forest deflects wind, reduces its force, but also shapes it, creates microcurrents, updrafts, downdrafts. This affects seed dispersal, pollen movement, even weather. Large forests change, regional wind patterns, create barriers or channels, guiding storms, influencing rainfall. The forest breathes out, and the wind carries that breath far away, eventually returning as rain, as moisture, completing the cycle, the forest's breath becoming the world's weather. Your breath, part of that cycle, part of that wind, part of everything. Jungle layers, we describe them, but within each layer, microhabitats, a bromeliad pool, high in the canopy. It's a tiny lake, its own ecosystem, mosquito larvae, frog tadpoles, bacteria, algae, all living in a few cups of water, held by a plant 100 feet up. The tree doesn't know, doesn't care. It provides structure, space, and life fills it, opportunistically, creatively, finding ways to exist in the smallest spaces. Life is persistent. Life is inventive. Life fills every niche, every possibility, every opportunity to rest, to let go, taken, gratefully, completely. Lightning struck trees, some species, they're more resistant. Oak, because of oils in wood that conduct electricity to the ground. Other trees with high water content, they're vulnerable. Sap boils, trunk explodes, but even destroyed trees, they serve purpose. The fallen trunk becomes habitat. The opened canopy lets light reach. Smaller trees waiting below. The cleared space fills with new growth. Diversity increases temporarily until canopy closes again. Lightning, it seems destructive, but to the forest, it's just another disturbance, another pulse, another opportunity for change, for renewal. Renewal through release, through letting the day die, letting consciousness fade, making space for rest, for dreams, for nothing. Forest myths persist across cultures because forests are liminal spaces, thresholds between known and unknown. In myths, forests transform people into animals, into spirits. Forests hide treasures. Forests test heroes. Why? Because forests represent the unconscious, the wild, the uncontrolled. When humans enter forests, they leave human spaces, human rules, and enter something older, something that existed before us, that will exist after. The myths recognize this. Honor it, fear it, Revere it. Forests in stories are never neutral. They're always powerful, always transformative, always sacred in some way. Sacred space, this darkness, this quiet, this surrender to sleep. Some forests grow in circles. We mentioned fairy rings, but also trees around meadows, where elk gather, where fire burned, where a pond dried. The circle marks an event, a disturbance, a change, and trees grow at the margins, expanding inward or outward, slowly, over decades, centuries, the circle growing or shrinking, pulsing like a wave, moving through landscape, through time, circles upon circles, patterns repeating at different scales, from single trees to whole forests. Mathematics and biology, creating beauty, creating structure, creating meaning, in the simple act of growth, circles, closing, completing, returning to where we began, but transformed, deepened. Oxygen production, we mentioned it, but it's worth returning to. Forest oxygen, it feels purer, fresher, because it is. It's recently made, still carrying the energy of photosynthesis, still connected to the life that made it. When you breathe forest air, you're breathing tree exhalations. What trees don't need, you do. What you exhale, they need. Perfect exchange, perfect reciprocity, two kingdoms, breathing together, keeping each other alive. An ancient partnership, before humans, before mammals, before birds, plants and animals, breathing each other's waste, transforming it into life, into energy, into movement, breathing together with forests everywhere, with all life connected through simple breath. Mountains and forests, they rise together. Tectonic forces uplift rock, and forests clothe the inclines. Their roots hold soil, slow erosion. Without forests, mountains would erode faster, lose height quicker. With forests, they stand longer, taller. The forest preserves the mountain. The mountain provides varied habitat, different elevations, different exposures, different microclimates for different trees, different communities. Together, mountain and forest create diversity, create complexity, create beauty, beauty and simplicity in this moment, in breath, in darkness, in peace. Forest insects engineer. We touched on this, but consider bark beetles. They seem destructive, killing trees, but they target weak trees, stressed trees, trees that won't survive anyway. They accelerate natural thinning, opening space for younger trees, for new growth, and the galleries they carve in bark, in wood. They become homes for other insects, for fungi, for bacteria. One species' death work is many species' habitat. The forest uses everything, wastes nothing. Every death feeds life. Every ending enables beginning. Ending of the day, beginning of night, of rest, of dreams, or of nothing, of beautiful nothing. Trees die slowly. This bears repeating because it's profound. Death is gradual, progressive. Not a moment, but a process. Branch by branch, root by root, cell by cell, the tree declining, but still living, still photosynthesizing, still providing nectar for bees, shade for ferns, habitat for birds. A dying tree supports more life than a healthy one sometimes. Insects attracted to weakness, birds following insects, fungi moving in, the tree becoming a hub, a nexus of activity, of life in its dying, more alive than ever in dying to wakefulness, more alive in dreams, in unconsciousness, in the deep where real rest lives. Night forests, they don't sleep. Different creatures emerge, owls hunting, flying squirrels gliding, moths pollinating, flowers that open only after dark, adapted to moths, to bats, pale flowers, night blooming, heavily scented. The forest at night is transformed. Different sounds, different movements, different rules, but just as alive, just as busy, just as purposeful. Day and night, the forest breathes both, uses both, needs both, for wholeness, for completeness. Night, embracing you now, completely, gently, finally. The forest hums. We mentioned this, that baseline sound of life happening, insects buzzing, leaves rustling, water flowing somewhere, animals moving, all of it combining into one sound, one frequency. Some people find it meditative, peaceful, others find it unsettling, too much life, too much activity, but it's honest, it's real, it's the sound of a living system, functioning, processing, existing. The hum never stops, day or night, summer or winter. The forest, always working, always living, always being, just being. No thought required, no effort, just existence, just breath, just this, predator and forest, balance. We explored this, but consider timescales, predator-prey dynamics. They cycle, populations rise, fall, rise again, over decades, centuries. The forest responds, trees adapt to browsing, to predation, by changing chemistry, by growing thorns, by timing seed production, masting, where all trees produce seeds the same year, overwhelming predators, ensuring some seeds survive. These strategies take time to evolve, take time to observe, but the forest has time, has endless time to experiment, to adapt, to survive. Time, endless time, or no time. Same thing in sleep, in peace, in this moment. Eternal. Sound in forests gets trapped, absorbed by vegetation, by soil, creating acoustically dead spaces where sound doesn't echo, doesn't carry. This affects how animals communicate, how they call, how they listen, and it affects how we feel. In forests, that muffled quality, that intimacy, it can be comforting or unsettling, depending on your state, your expectations. But it's characteristic of forest spaces, of deep woodland, where sound, like light, is filtered, transformed, made intimate, made close, close, so close. This voice inside your head almost, soft, quiet, fading microclimates. They're everywhere. A hollow stump, warmer than surrounding air, a north-facing slope, cooler, wetter, a sun patch, hot, dry. Each supports different species, different communities. The forest is not uniform, not simple, but infinitely complex, infinitely variable. Every square foot slightly different from every other. This complexity, this variation, it's what creates resilience, diversity, stability. If everywhere was the same, one disease, one drought, one fire could destroy everything. But with variation, some survive, some thrive, some persist, persisting through the night, through dreams, through darkness, continuing, always. Trees growing from trees, nurse logs, they can support entire rows of new growth. The line of trees marks where the nurse log was. All the seedlings started there, used its resources, its nutrients, its moisture. Now they stand independent, but their bases show their origin, their connection to the tree that died, that gave, that nurtured them in forests, generations, overlap, interweave, each supporting the next, through death, through decay, through transformation, transformation complete, from waking to sleeping, from light to dark, from thought to emptiness. Forests adapt, always adapting, to climate, to disturbance, to competition. Species shift, ranges change, communities reorganize over decades, over centuries. The forest you see today is different from the forest 50 years ago, will be different from the forest 50 years hence, but still, it's forest, still green, still alive, still performing the same functions: carbon storage, water cycling, habitat provision. The form changes, the function persists. Adaptation is survival, is continuation, is life, life continuing in you, even as you sleep, heart beating, lungs breathing, cells working, life never stopping, even in deepest rest. The pace of forests, it's geological, not human, not animal, geological, measured in decades, in centuries, in millennia. A mature forest takes 200 years to develop, maybe more. An old growth forest, 500 years, 1,000. These timescales, they dwarf human lifetimes, human civilizations even. The forest exists in deep time, slow time, time that curves toward infinity. We visit forests, but we don't experience their true pace. We see snapshots, moments, but the forest life unfolds too slowly for us to perceive. We can only imagine it, only honor it by being still, being patient, being present, present in this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. Nothing else exists. Trees share nutrients through the wood wide web, through mycorrhizae. We've said this, but it's miraculous, truly miraculous, that trees would feed each other, support each other, cooperate in a world we imagine as competitive, as survival of the fittest. Trees show another way. Cooperation, mutualism, support. The forest is stronger when all trees contribute, when all trees receive, than when they compete unto death. This lesson the forest teaches, without words, without judgment, just by existing, just by being. What it is, what you are, perfect, complete, needing nothing, having everything, in stillness, in darkness, colours we can't see, we mentioned, but think about the forest in infrared, heat signatures, cool soil, warm canopies, hot sun patches, the forest in ultraviolet, patterns on flowers, invisible to us, visible to bees. Every wavelength reveals a different forest, a different truth, all true, all real, all existing, simultaneously, overlapping. The forest is many forests, many realities, all at once, many dreams, or one dream, or no dreams, all the same, all rest, all peace, all this, the breathing cycle of forests, daily, seasonally, annually. Forests inhale carbon dioxide, exhale oxygen, in day, reverse at night, but net positive, over time, pulling carbon from atmosphere, storing it in wood, in soil, for decades, centuries. Forests are Earth's lungs, and Earth breathes slowly, deeply, in cycles that match the orbit of seasons, the wobble of climate, everything breathing together, everything connected through breath, through air, through life. Your breath, the forest's breath, Earth's breath, the same breath, in, out, slow, steady, peaceful. Climate history. Forests record it, store it, tell it. Scientists drill cores from ancient trees, from bog trees, preserved in peat. They read the rings, measure isotopes, reconstruct temperature, rainfall, carbon dioxide levels, going back thousands of years, tens of thousands. The forest remembers what we forget, what we never knew. It stores climate in structure, in chemistry, in the simple fact of growth or lack thereof. Every thin ring is a drought, every wide ring, abundance. The forest is history book written in wood for those who can read history, fading, becoming myth, becoming dream, becoming nothing. Storms from forests we touched on, but it's profound that forests create their own weather, their own climate. The Amazon generates half its own rainfall through transpiration, through evaporation, moisture cycling 6, 7 times before leaving the basin. Without the forest, the Amazon would be savanna, maybe desert. The forest sustains itself through weather, through rain, through the moisture it creates. Forests are self-maintaining, self-perpetuating until the cycle breaks, until deforestation reaches a tipping point, and then the forest can't sustain itself anymore, can't create enough. Rain can only to decline, can only to disappear into dryness, fading as moisture returns, as sleep comes, as everything softens, quiets, stills. Forests as archives, living libraries. We've said this, but consider the information stored, genetic information in every seed, in every cell, ecological information in community structure, in species associations, climate information in rings and isotopes, chemical information in soils, in tissues, historical information in old growth, in ancient trees. All this information stored, waiting for us to learn, to read, to understand. The forest offers knowledge freely if we can learn its language, its pace, its truth, beyond words, beyond thought, truth felt in the body, in the breath, in the letting go. Wood stores memory. We've said this too, but it's worth sitting with the idea that a tree carries its past in its present form, that you could touch a tree and touch the year 200 years ago when it germinated, touch the drought of 1820, touch the fire of 1750, all there in the wood, in the structure, memory made physical, made tangible, the past not gone but present, still existing in altered form, but existing, still real, still touchable, touch fading, sensation fading, only presence, only being, only this. Forests outlive empires. We've said this, and it remains profound. Rome rose, Rome fell. Forests continue. The British Empire rose, declined. Forests continue. America rose, will someday decline. Forests will continue, not unchanged, not unaffected, but continuing, adapting, surviving. Forests know something we don't, about endurance, about patience, about the long game, the very long game. Long, like this night, stretching forever, or ending now. Can't tell, don't care, just drifting. Leaf geometry. We explored, but consider the efficiency, the elegance, millions of years of evolution creating the perfect shape for each species, each environment, each strategy. Nothing random, nothing wasteful. Every curve serves purpose, every vein precisely placed to move water, to move sugar, to maximize strength while minimizing material. Nature is the ultimate engineer, and leaves are proof of patient, elegant, perfect design. Perfect, like this moment, like this breath, like this darkness. Nothing needs changing, nothing needs doing, nothing needs anything. Evolution continues in forests. Right now, trees are evolving and adapting to climate change, to drought, to pests. Fast enough, maybe, maybe not, but trying. Seeds carry slight variations. Some trees more drought tolerant, some trees more heat tolerant. Those trees survive, reproduce, pass on their traits over generations. The forest shifts, adapts, evolves. This is happening now, in real time, though too slow for us to see. The forest is becoming what it needs to be to survive. What's coming, or it's trying. At least it's trying, not trying. Doesn't matter. Just being, just resting, just floating in darkness, in peace. Forests on other worlds. We imagine them in science fiction, on planets, circling other stars. Would they be green? Would they be red, from different pigments, capturing different wavelengths from different suns? Would they be tall or short or something we can't imagine? Forests are so fundamental to how we understand life. We assume other worlds, other living worlds would have them. We imagine walking through alien forests, under strange skies, breathing strange air. And maybe someday, somewhere out there, forests do grow under other suns, and maybe they're not so different from ours. Maybe life finds similar solutions, similar forms, wherever it emerges, wherever it tries, wherever, here, now, in this bed, in this darkness, in this perfect stillness. Regrowing forests, after logging, after fire, after clearing, they're resilient. Often, species return, seeds sprout, trees grow, not identical to what was lost, but functional, living, green. Within decades, within a century, forest returns if we let it, if we give it space, time, protection. The forest wants to return, wants to grow, wants to live. This impulse, this drive, it's built in to every seed, every root, every cell. Life pushing back against death, against destruction, against emptiness, filling space, creating complexity, building, always growing, always returning to breath, to heartbeat, to the basic, simple facts of being alive, of being here, of being asleep. Decay and growth, balance in forests, always balanced. How much dies equals how much grows over time, over large scales. The forest neither grows nor shrinks, just transforms, cycles, rotates through different states, different forms, but maintaining total biomass, total carbon, total life. This balance, is equilibrium, is maturity, is the forest being itself, fully, completely relaxed, completely at rest, completely here, now, in this perfect moment. Tree lines, they expand, contract with climate, currently expanding, moving north, moving upward on mountains. As temperatures rise, trees colonize what was tundra, what was alpine. Seeds blow on wind, land, on bare ground, sprout slowly. Young trees establish over decades. The tree line advances a few feet per year, creeping, reclaiming what ice once held. Forests moving, always moving, following their optimal climate, their niche, moving into sleep, into dreams, following the optimal path down into rest. Canopy energy, the top of the forest. It's where most photosynthesis happens, most energy enters the system, sunlight striking leaves, converting to chemical bonds, to sugar, to life. This energy flows down to lower levels, through falling leaves, through sap, through animals that move between levels. The canopy, his engine, his solar panel, his foundation of forest, metabolism, everything below depends on what happens above, in the light, in the crown, in the green cathedral of leaves, energy flowing through you, slowing, settling into stillness, into the deepest, quietest place. Forests never stop, changing, growing, dying, regenerating, even old growth, even ancient, still changing. Individual trees die, fall, new ones grow, species ratios shift slightly, year by year. The forest you see today, different tomorrow, different next year, but still forest, still alive, still green, still breathing. The change is forest. The transformation is forest, not something separate but essential, core to what? Forest is. Forests are change, made solid, made slow, made green, change, fading into stillness, into constancy, into the eternal present, where nothing changes, where everything is. Renewal, the eternal cycle. Seeds germinate, trees grow, trees die. Seeds germinate over and over forever, as long as earth spins, as long as rain falls, as long as sun shines. Forests will renew, will continue, will persist. This cycle, it's larger than any one tree, any one forest, any one lifetime. It's the pattern that persists while individuals come and go. The pattern of forest, of life, of green things, growing, always reaching, always living, and resting, both simultaneously, like you, now alive and deeply asleep. The universe keeps turning, the forests breathing in their slow green rhythm, and will keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries. 100 forest mysteries, looping softly, endlessly, through the night. Tonight we'll drift through the hidden cities beneath ancient forest floors. How trees secretly talk across miles, and the night forests that never truly sleep. There's nothing you need to do now. Just let your body sink. Heavier. Feel the mattress holding you, every muscle softening, your heartbeat slowing, thump, matching the rhythm of space itself, shoulders melting down, jaw releasing, each breath pulling you deeper into the calm, the quiet, the dark, and we'll keep drifting, floating together through the mysteries, through the endless green, through the ancient silence, while the forests breathe and grow and remember, and you rest, finally, completely rest.